let me turn the phone over to Stan Greenberg, the co-founder of Democracy Corps and the CEO of Greenberg Quinlan Rosner Research. Stan, can you present your findings?
Yep. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for this proceeding with this, I think, important project, and I think that this timely first release of the surveys supported by the Public Campaign Action Fund. We got a great deal of attention to this release, not the least of which Tom Friedman had had the full survey, which led him to add his fourth point in his article on why the importance of addressing money as the precondition for having a candidate that can bring change and to support. So very, very pleased with the project. I want to speak. Just summarize a couple main points, but then actually talk about the data, and I'll try to to move fairly quickly so we can focus on the questions that you're going to have about it. But what's clear is that the issue is of great importance, and people there's a disgust level that is hard not to notice. Though it's true that we've polled that before. Here it is linked. People are making judgments about the presidential race, which appears here. It is also linked to the conclusions that they are drawing about the Supreme Court and Citizens United, and the meaning of that, and the majority that would support a constitutional amendment. The numbers of people who say this would matter in their vote, the most important, I think, for this whole ongoing project is trying to persuade everyone, whatever your agenda, that if you don't clean up the mess in Washington, you can't get heard on your progressive agenda. And the data here was stunningly strong, and that's the last slide I'll present, and I will talk about this. So this survey, if you're using the WebEx, it was just completed just over a week ago, so this is quite fresh. I won't dwell on the summary slide here because I've already covered these pieces. You can see on graph 4 the discussed with lobbyists and money in politics, but here you can see on slide 5 that we are just the 81% who want to limit money, rejecting kind of the standard conservative argument. It's one of the most important things we do in a nation. There shouldn't be limits on campaign contributions. And then when we link it to the presidential primaries, when you give a paired statement, given what I see in the presidential race, I'm fed up with the big donors and secret money that controls which candidates we are about to. It undermines democracy, which is a very strong statement about an immediate unfolding, story, which we obviously want to be part of. And as you'll see throughout this was very strong with independents. 3/4 of independents said it undermines democracy. 62% strongly. So the intensity, and this is in the middle. And I do think we will see, as this Republican process goes forward, we will see fragmentation and third-party activity, drawing independent votes, and maybe even drawing this issue into the election. This poll was done on the 2-year anniversary of Citizens United, overwhelming opposition, again reinforcing the 69% opposition is strongest and with greatest intensity amongst independents. A majority, 51 to 33, say, and the wording is important. Some have called for a variety of constitutional amendments. A common proposal would state that corporations are not people and allow for limits on what wealthy individuals and interest groups can contribute to spending on campaigns. A strong majority, supports that. This is an issue with political impact, and the more we can demonstrate that, obviously the more attention will come. We ask first simply whether it's an important issue. You see 3/4, say it's an important issue, but the more serious way to look at this is whether, how much does it matter in your vote? Reducing the influence of money in politics and special interest lobbies is a very important factor in my vote. Half the people say that is it's a very important factor. This is the most intense response that we have. We'll obviously need to be translating this, going forward, not just, measuring, discussed, as we've talked about. Again, this is across party lines and independence. It is very important, if you look at slide 13, to recognize that no party is seen as clean on this issue. When we ask the question, who you would turn to, on this, issue, there is, marginally more people say Republicans, but that's not, right. You're basically in the middle 30s. Both parties are in the middle 30s, about 10 points below what they would need, or more, below what they would, should have in terms of where their current vote is, in the presidential, election, with a big, 28%, almost, 3 in 10 who are saying neither or don't know. And so it's an important message to political leaders. Pay attention. Don't presume. You're the change or reform age. This will be a change election for sure. And right now, neither party has that. When you look to various forms of campaign finance reform and taking money out of politics, we've started to create a tracker, a tracking item. This is what we call a thermometer scale, with a red being a warm favorable, the yellow being a cool or negative. It's on a 0 to 100 scale, 50 at midpoint. And what you see when you say a plan that replaces current campaign funding with small donations and matching funds, you get a mean of 53.8. That means that more than half are giving it a warm or favorable rating. Has a net plus 16. Simply saying public funding of campaigns, you'll see has a net minus 21. And so in the current environment, given the character of campaigns that they're watching, the idea of giving taxpayer dollars to campaigns, without conditions, without directed, without clearly indicating the impact on private contributions, doesn't win support. But there clearly is, an emerging majority for our hopefully refined position going forward on how we would, change the system. Again, it says, support. It's net plus 14 with independents and 28 with Democrats. Let me end with this last exercise, because this is a very important piece in this. And you should know that there have been shifts against the Republicans, and the shifts we've seen in our poll. I know this does not have a party. This poll does not have a party purpose, and this messaging does not include party. But when we, up until the end of the year, and certainly the beginning of the year, it used to be that any time you advanced a conservative argument right now about small government and cutting spending, that defeated any progressive argument that we put against it. Here you'll see that we have, put a progressive argument against a very strong, conservative argument. Let me read the conservative argument, because I think you should know, we're testing against a very powerful message. Our number one priority is to reduce the deficit and the size of government. We can't spend our way to prosperity. We can only create jobs if we get our spending and debt under control, remove the overhang of debt and uncertainty so the job creators can get our economy back to work. Clearly, that's the kind of message the Republicans are advancing both congressionally and presidentially. And here our number one priority is to rebuild the middle class. We should invest in education, protect Medicare and Social Security, end wasteful corporate subsidies, and ask the rich to pay their fair share. We need an economy and our government to work for the middle class again. We won that by 14 points, the progressive message, which is impressive. But the test we did here, which really goes to this purpose of this exercise, is we took the same message on the Republican side. We compressed the Democratic message on the core side on invest in education, Medicare, Social Security. But then we started it with the middle class won't catch a break unless we start by reducing the influence of big banks, big donors, and corporate lobbyists. And then we offered the rest of the message. what you see is that we win the message. We win that contrast by 25 points. That we have a 10-point change in our advantage on our core economic priorities message when we start by saying cleaning up lobbyists and special interest money, is our starting point. So that is as important as can be, and sets the stage and sets the platform for the things we want to do.